So I noticed that once the age of Pisces moved on and the age of Aquarius came into position, I noticed that the world started changing. I noticed that beings were becoming more out in the open, sharing, communicating, exploring, right? And it all feels good energy. It all feels like there's a new era that we're in. And that's the age of Aquarius, right? So if you think about the age we just left from, which was the age of Pisces, just think about all of the things that was going on in the Pisces age. And just think of all the moods and how the beings were carrying themselves in the age of Pisces. Good and bad, right? I'm starting to like pick up on how in this age of Aquarius, how the women synchronization is almost like their intuition and how they see is very strong. I'm noticing that power once they come conscious, and once they come and tap into self. I'm noticing that almost all of their intuitions are, I'm gonna say, somewhat accurate in a lot of ways. And as I trace and as I'm paying attention, because I'm a person that documents, if not on pad or a piece of paper, it's in my mind. I store data as I'm living, because I'm looking, I'm tracking, I'm seeing what's what, you know what I'm saying? So I'm noticing that women have once they're in their element, in their mode, I'm gonna call it monk mode or whatever you want to call it, right? Their senses and their intuition is so strong, almost as if these messages are channeled from, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, so what I'm doing is comparing the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius, how beings were carrying themselves, how we're moved. So that tells you a lot of things. That tells you when we come into these different stages, the age of Pisces, the age of Aquarius, the age of Scorpio, that whole cycle, in them cycles, once we come into these cycles, we need to then prepare and transition by knowing what's to come. And knowing what's to come is to track and to dialogue all of what you felt in the age of Aquarius versus the age of Pisces versus the age of Virgo, all of these cycles. So being aware and having awareness of the moons, what signs your moon causes, and how to balance all these things. We must be aware of all these things because all these things are happening. And the happening are the results of human beings. Because depending on these moons' positions causes different moods in the charts of those who are charted in that season. You know what I'm saying? It affects everyone, to be honest, when these moons are in different positions and different, you know. So I'm noticing that women's synchronization is powerful and it's so strong. Their intuition, their intuitive readings of the human nature and of signs, because all things are math and all signs is information, right? So if you're not aware of signs, numbers, days, and tracking everything that's around you, then your consciousness of being conscious of what's to take place or what will take place, you'll completely be out of the loop of. You know what I'm saying? Or in a good way, it can be just, being so in sync with self, tapped into self, that you go around like beings, and you guys may not even communicate with words, just energies attract. Your energy might attract, and energy speak without words being uttered. Yeah, but that's just a quick thing I wanted to share about women's intuitive connections during this age of Aquarius. It's very high sensed. It's very high sensed. It's so high sensed, it's kind of like, where are these channels coming from? And you can tell when someone's making things up. You can tell when someone's trying to write a script and go with things. And if you're conscious of, but that's one thing about the truth versus the lie. The truth resonates hard. A lie is something that you see all type of holes in, and not to even judge it to create holes, but truth attracts your energy. Lies alerts you that something is wrong. So shout out to all the women and those who are out there building their synchronization, and that's knowledge of self. Because once you come into knowledge of self, which is an infinite evolution, you then start treating everything like, I need to be paying attention to this, even if it doesn't really got anything to do with the project I'm working on. You still need to pay attention to details, numbers, repeative signs that are just a repetition. That why have I seen this so many times in one day? Why have I heard this so many times in one day? You know what I'm saying? And you go to questioning things to see if it's a sign, or maybe just a reoccurrence of you being at a certain place, or being in a certain position. But peace to all the gods and all the goddesses and those who are on the journey to being chosen, and all people are chosen.